So hello YouTube viewers. So today's topic is values and data types. So we'll be treating a very simple topic in Python, values and data types. So we'll be explaining what values are and what data types in Python. So let's just dive into this topic and see what values and data types are all about in Python. So the first question you ask yourself is, what is a value? What do you mean by value in Python or in programming language? So value is one of the basic things a program works with. A value is a fundamental piece of data that a program manipulates. So basically what this definition is trying to say is that values are the building blocks of every program written. Values are the building blocks of every program written. Programs are written with values. That means they are the building block, the basic thing that every program is standing upon. Yes, standing upon. So let me just explain what I mean. So this is my Visual Studio Code. So if you observe this place where 1 6.7 hello and true are written. 1 6.7 hello and true. These are values in Python. These are values in Python. These are values in Python. So 1 6.7 hello true are values. That means that's the basic thing that you find in Python. That's the basic thing that you find in Python. What I mean, anytime you are writing a code in Python, you will always come across all these values. You will use them. You will use them. So in this topic on treating of values and data type, we'll be touching on two type of function: print function and type function. Print function and type function, these are one of the simplest function. Then as you begin to as you begin to go further in Python, you begin to understand what function are. But for example, these are the basic function you'll be dealing with: print function and type function. So we're treating these two type of function: print function and type function. Print function, this print function. Basically what the print function does is that it prints values to the screen. That means it displays values to the screen. So whatever values you place inside these parentheses, it displays it to the monitor. For example, now if I put 1 inside here and I run this thing, it will display 1. That's what print function. Whatever you place in, whatever value, remember, whatever value you place inside this print function, it displays it to the monitor. So print function and type function, as I said before, basically what print function does is that whatever value you place between inside that parenthesis, it displays it to the monitor. It's like you're saying, show, like, print out 1 for me, or display 1 for me, let me see. That's what this print function is doing. If I change this value to another value, 6.7, and I run this thing, it displays 6.7. If I change this other value to hello, run it, it displays hello. If I change this other value to true, oh, it displays true. So you see that print function is used, whatever value you place inside this print function, it displays it. So so you see that so you see how the print function works. It displays this thing. So you see values so I wrote, there are 4 values here: 1 value, 6.7 hello true. But if you notice that Each of all these values are not the same. Like for example, now 1 is different from 6.7, 1 is different from true, and true is different from hello, and true is different from 6.7. All these values are not the same. So there's something we call data types. What data type does is that data types helps to categorize a set of similar values. Data type helps to categorize a set of values. What do I mean? Values belongs to different data types. So the four data types that I list here, which are integer, string, float, and booleans, basically in Python there are various different types of data. There are many data types, but the four basic ones that you are ought to know, which you are ought to know as a beginner: integer, string, float, and boolean. These four are the most basic ones you are ought to know: integer, string, float, and boolean. They are very simple. So what do I mean? Let me explain. So you see the four data types that I list here: integer, string, float, and boolean. The four basic data types that you ought to know. As I mentioned, data type help us to categorize a set of values. So those values that are the same, they be categorized they be categorized as a special type, as a special data type, and another set of values will also be categorized as another data type. For example, now this one is categorized as integer, 6.7 is categorized as float, he- hello here is categorized as a string, while true here is categorized as boolean. So I'll be explaining each of the data type. Integer, in integer. Basically, integer has integer are just numbers, positive or negative numbers without no decimal point. For example, 2 is an integer, 4 is an integer, 56 is an integer, 100 is an integer, -6 is an integer, -7 is an integer. So integers are numbers, whole numbers that has no decimal point. Simple. Integers are whole numbers without no decimal point. What about float? So float are numbers with decimal point. For example, 5.6, 7.8, 0.9, 0.8, 0.9. That is just basically float are values. They are values. Float float Floating values are numbers with decimal point. Remember, integers are numbers without no decimal point. Take note of this. Integers are numbers without no decimal point, while floating values are numbers with decimal point. Integer values are numbers without no decimal point. But for string 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 values string values. So string values are values that are placed inside the quote. For example, hello. Any value that is placed inside the quote is automatically a string. For example, if I place a number 56, this is a string. Where? Because of this quote. Any value that is placed inside a quote is a string. Any value that is placed inside a quote is a string. Take note. Any value that is placed inside a quote is a string. So I can put 7.6 inside this quote. 7.7 is a string. I can put good morning. This is a string. So string values are characters that are placed inside a quote. Then the fourth one, which is boolean. Boolean has only two values. Boolean has only two values, which are true and true and false. These are the only two values that boolean has. Boolean has only two values, true and false. True and false. So you see these four integer values are numbers. So integer values are numbers, whole numbers without no decimal point. Floating values are numbers with decimal point. String values are characters, any characters placed inside the quote, while boolean values are is just true and false, just two values. So remember the two type of function that we deal with here, print function and type function. And remember, print function is used to display something out to the monitor or to print out something to the monitor. So any value you place inside a print function, it will display that. For example, now if I place a integer value 23, I run this thing, it will display 23. If I place a floating value 7.8, I run it 7.8. If I place a string value, for example now, hello world, the string value will come out to the monitor. If I place a boolean value false, false will come out. So you see what print does? Print out each value to the monitor or to your screen. So the last function that I want to talk about is this type function. Type function. Type function. So what does type function does? Type function here, the type function here is used to check which data type each value belongs to. The type function helps you to check which data type each value belongs to. For example now, imagine imagine for example now, you don't know the what value is 6.7. You don't know which data type 6.7 belongs to. To check the data type of this value, all you have to do is type type 6.7 float. So what this is does na it check the data type of any value. So anytime you place a value inside a type function, e show you the data type that value belongs to. For example na 6.7 belongs to float. If I change this to just nine, int, that is representing that this value belongs to a data type called integer. If I change this to hello world and run it, str string, so indicate that this value belongs to a data type called string. And if I change this to nope, if I change this to true and I run this, bool, representing that this value true belongs to the data type called boolean. So you see that it's simple. So you see that it's simple. What values and data types are? Values are basic fundamentals of programs. Values are basic fundamentals of programs. And values belongs to data type. Data type help us to categorize a set of values. So using print and type function, we can print out a value to the monitor and we can check the data type of that value using type function. So this is simple. For example, now let's continue with this true. Let me check the data type of 7.8 that is placed inside a quote. Watch this. String. Why is this thing a string? Why? Because this value or this character is placed inside a quote. Remember, string values are characters that are placed inside a quote. If I remove this quote now and I remove the other quote and I run this, it will show float. Why is it float? Because this is no longer a string value because there's no quote, but this is now a float value. Where? Because it has a decimal point. As I said before, there are many data types and different type of value. But these four basic data type, integer, float, string and boolean, are the most basic one you ought to know as every beginner in Python. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and share this channel. Please like and subscribe and share this channel to your friends that are also learning Python. Thank you.